The gilded hall of the Metropolitan Arts Club shimmered beneath chandeliers as Chicago's elite gathered for their annual charity gala. Laughter floated across the room, but it fell silent the moment Victoria Hartwell, internationally celebrated pianist, lifted her hand toward a small blind girl standing beside the Steinway. "How cute," Victoria purred. "Come here, sweetie. Play something for us. How about Happy Birthday? Everyone knows that one." Muffled chuckles rose from the donors. 14-year-old Amelia Johnson stood motionless, gripping her white cane. She had arrived with her public school principal, who'd received 2 complimentary tickets meant to promote musical inclusion. Instead, she now stood as the evening's novelty. What no one there knew was that Amelia spent 10 hours a day practicing on a battered-donated keyboard in a church basement. No one knew she could reproduce entire symphonies after hearing them once, or that music had become the only way she processed the grief of losing her parents and her sight at 8 years old. "Actually," Amelia said softly, "I prefer Rachmaninoff." Victoria laughed aloud. Rachmaninoff. What piece, dear?" "Piano Concerto, No 2 英寸, C minor. But maybe it's too advanced for this audience." The room froze. Victoria's smile hardened, pride pricked. "Young lady," she snapped, "you're addressing people who finance orchestras. Perhaps you don't understand where you are." Whispers of "how rude" rippled through the room. Dr. Michael Chun, the visiting conductor of the Boston Symphony, shifted uneasily. "Perhaps we should continue with no," Victoria cut in. "If she thinks she can critique us, let her prove it." She sat at the piano and deliberately played the opening in the wrong key. "This piece requires decades of emotional maturity," she declared. "Are you sure you want to expose yourself?" Amelia tilted her head. "Rachmaninoff's Concerto, No. 2 is in C minor, Dr. Hartwell. You played E flat major." "Gas!" Victoria flashed. She had meant to trick the girl, yet she had been exposed instantly, and, Amelia added calmly, he composed it while battling depression after the failure of his first symphony. Each movement reflects his journey through despair. Technique alone isn't enough. You must know darkness to play it well. Those words hit Victoria like a blow. Critics had often called her performances brilliant but cold. "Very well," Victoria hissed. "Show us. If you can play even the first movement decently, I'll donate $10,000 to your school." "And if I play the entire concerto from memory," Amelia replied, "make it $50,000. The audience murmured and Victoria, stung by pride, agreed. Amelia stepped away to prepare. Her Aunt Dorothy quietly followed. In the secluded corner, the older woman asked, "Are you sure about this, my girl?" Amelia nodded. She had trained for years under Professor Martinez, a legendary pianist who came out of retirement when Dorothy, a cleaning lady at the conservatory, had begged him to evaluate her niece. He had found not just talent, but genius, and had secretly instructed Amelia almost every day since. "Victoria thinks she's humiliating a beginner," Amelia whispered. "But she's challenging someone prepared for this moment for years." Back in the hall, Victoria rolled her eyes dramatically. Finally, she snapped as Amelia returned. "If you're finished reconsidering your mistake, let's begin." Amelia sat, her hands finding the keys with intimate familiarity. Then she asked one quiet question. "Have any of you ever had to rebuild your soul after losing everything at once?" The silence that followed felt charged, an unspoken warning that the room was about to witness something it was not prepared for. Amelia began to play. The very first chord made Victoria step back in shock. It wasn't just correct, it was transcendent. The phrases flowed with a depth no training alone could create. This was someone who had lived the despair woven into Rachmaninoff's notes. Dr. Chun leaned forward, stunned. Margaret Whitfield, the event's main sponsor, began to cry softly. Conversations ceased. Cameras lowered. The haughty expressions around the room dissolved as the music filled every corner with raw humanity. Amelia did not play to impress. She played to reveal. The first movement unfolded as the story of a child losing everything, the second as the fury of being underestimated, the third as acceptance and rebirth. At the climax, Amelia added a few rare expressive markings, secret variations found only in Rachmaninoff's original Moscow manuscripts. Professor Martinez had shown them to her years earlier. Victoria choked on her breath. "She knows the original scores," she whispered, horrified. Everything she had assumed about Amelia collapsed. The girl wasn't just talented, she was extraordinary, powerful enough to eclipse Victoria entirely. When the last note faded, silence filled the hall, sacred and absolute. Then applause exploded, thunderous, unanimous, overwhelming. People stood as though honoring something holy. Dr. Chun approached Victoria grimly. "We need to discuss your future with our orchestras." Margaret Whitfield pulled out her phone. "Your behavior tonight will not be forgotten." Amelia extended a gentle hand toward Victoria. Thank you for the opportunity. Sometimes we must face our own music to understand who we are. Victoria shook her hand, trembling. She knew she would never recover from this night. 6 months later, Amelia walked the halls of the Juilliard Academy as its youngest full scholarship student. Margaret Whitfield funded not only her education but a foundation supporting hidden musical talent across underserved communities. Meanwhile, Victoria's concerts were cancelled worldwide. Critics wrote that playing the right notes was meaningless without a soul behind them. Her reputation collapsed exactly the way arrogance always does, quietly at first. Then all at once, Amelia's first album, released 2 years later, became the decade's best-selling classical album. She continued using her platform to uplift young musicians who, like her, had been dismissed because of prejudice. Her favorite message to them was simple: the best revenge is not destroying those who harmed you but building something they never believed you could.